Okay, let's jump right into this breakdown. Look, if you're an EdTech founder, a coaching business owner, or a course creator doing anywhere from 50 locks to 20 crores a year, you're probably hitting a ceiling. Your sales team is stuck, right? Well, this explainer is exactly for you. We're going to unpack how to actually shift from that chaotic, founder-led sales model into a revenue engine that is totally predictable and, more importantly, scalable. So, we've got to address the elephant in the room. Why do most EdTech sales teams just fail to scale? It's literally the most frustrating reality for entrepreneurs. You think, hey, I'll just hire more salespeople and revenue will double, right? No way. Doubling your headcount usually just leads to total chaos, a super diluted brand message, and honestly, just a massive pile of burned leads. So here's our roadmap for today. 1. The EdTech sales trap. 2. The Chitti challenge. 3. A complete sales system. 4. The contrarian talent filter. 5. Performance metrics. And 6. Building your sales machine. Let's get into it. Number 1. The EdTech sales trap and the very real cost of reactive hiring. Okay, so here's the trap almost everyone falls into. Most companies just rush their hiring to get bodies in seats. They give these new reps, maybe a couple of days of basic product training? And then they literally just have them shadow the older reps. But here's the catch. Those veterans are selling purely on gut instinct. There's absolutely no structured methodology, no competency tests, no structured onboarding. These new reps are basically thrown to the wolves and expected to figure the whole shebang out on their own. And without any kind of feedback loop or actual coaching system in place, the fallout is honestly devastating. Conversion rates absolutely plummet, your frustrated reps start quitting, which skyrockets your attrition, and suddenly your entire business is completely dependent on you, the founder, or maybe 1 or 2 star performers, just to keep the lights on. It's a total nightmare. Moving on to part 2, the Chitti challenge and scaling beyond regional markets. Let's look at a real-world case, LMMS and their flagship brand, Chitti. They're an amazing future readiness academy for kids aged 5 to 12. Now, Chitti was doing great, but they were mostly serving the Tamil-speaking market. And their sales conversations, pretty much just rattling off features and pushing discounts. But leadership had this massive pan-India vision. They wanted to build a completely new English and Hindi-speaking sales org that could consistently sell a 50,000 rupee high-ticket program to parents everywhere. Now, to scale a 50,000 rupee program nationally, they realized something absolutely crucial. The old school goal is just to recruit a ton of salespeople, right? But what they actually needed was a predictable, scalable sales engine. You can't just recruit faster. You need a completely different, ground-up approach to how you recruit, train, and manage your team. Which brings us to part 3, a complete operating system and the 90-day build-out. So stage 1 for their partner, Exclusive Closer, wasn't just glancing at a resume. Honestly, resumes don't tell the whole story. They rigorously assessed the stuff that actually matters. We're talking emotional intelligence, coachability, learning agility, and specifically, parent-facing communication skills. They even checked for remote work readiness. They wanted to pinpoint genuine sales aptitude before day 1 of training even started. Next, they rolled out this intensely rigorous multi-stage process. Stage 1, a hardcore 7-day ramp-up that focused super heavily on parent psychology. Stage 2 was mandatory simulation testing. The reps literally had to prove they could do it. Stage 3 required them to do 10 structured observation demos before even touching a live lead. And finally, Stage 4 locked in weekly, continuous coaching. And here's where it gets really cool. To prove this wasn't just, theoretical fluff, the trainer themselves actually jumped onto live calls with prospects. And guess what? They hit a 33% conversion rate. Doing this built absolute, total conviction within the team. It proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that, hey, this system fundamentally works when you actually execute it. Let's hit part 4, the contrarian talent filter. Eliminating weakness early. You have to look at this talent funnel. It's fascinating. 30 people recruited. 25 advanced to prep, 15 retained past 60 days, 10 exceeded the benchmark, and only 5 became elite performers. Now, you might be thinking, wait, they lost people? But removing candidates before they ever speak to a customer is actually a massive success metric. Filtering out the weak links early absolutely protects your brand experience and sets you up for way stronger long-term outcomes. All right, part 5, predictable performance metrics and the actual business outcomes. So, what did all this rigor actually yield? Well, following that intense 90-day build-out, this brand new, highly trained team successfully ran 834 total demos. And from those 834 interactions, which were highly standardized and process-driven, by the way, they closed 118 high-ticket sales. 118 sales for a 50,000 rupee program. That's huge. That boils down to a rock-solid 15% team average conversion rate. And within that group, 10 reps actively blew past their expected benchmarks, while those 5 elite performers were consistently closing at over 20%. The takeaway here? When you have a real methodology, your results aren't just a stroke of luck. They become scalable, totally repeatable, and undeniably effective. Which brings us to part 6, building your sales machine, and the strategic lessons for EdTech founders. If you only remember one thing from this breakdown, make it this. Scalable growth never ever happens when your reps are just memorizing product features. It happens when your entire team is trained to execute a proven process. You absolutely must shift your focus from what the product does to how the salesperson actually guides the prospect. It's a game changer. So let's recap those essential takeaways for founders. First, product training is not sales training. Second, if you have new hires just observing your veterans without a documented methodology, you're just breeding inconsistency. Third, hiring without a brutal filtering process guarantees future headaches. And finally, your sales org need an operating system. Continuous feedback loops and call audits, not just some random motivational pep talk once a quarter. Great sales teams are not found, they're built. I absolutely love this quote because it hits the nail on the head. You can't just go out hunting for natural, top-tier talent, throw them into a chaotic startup environment, and expect to scale. You have to literally architect the infrastructure to develop that talent in-house. And that's exactly how Exclusive Closer operates. They aren't just some standard recruitment agency tossing resumes over the fence. They act as a deep structural partner. They build that predictable, scalable sales infrastructure for high-growth academies, making sure the foundation is rock solid before you try to expand nationally. So, I want to leave you with this one provocative question to ask yourself today. Really think about this. If your marketing suddenly went viral and you literally doubled your leads tomorrow, would your current sales team be able to convert them consistently? Or would your entire system just completely break under the pressure? Take a hard look at your infrastructure right now and start building your sales machine today.